to have the 2-round lead, you know, in a couple of rounds, you can just dissipate. Just like that. That was such a quick round coming in from Heroic, hitting the shots. But as we spoke about the money for G2, they're so flush with cash. A buy will come out. And even if they lose this round, Vince, and lose all the players, they can still have yet another buy. So Heroic, they have a lot more tests ahead of them before they can feel even slightly comfortable.
Exactly. There's no easy way back in. This is the long yards. Hunter can count himself lucky. He survived that onslaught. 2 grenades land by his feet. Stoud tagged down to 5, nearly fragged from the Molotov, while there's a flash in there as well. Unconfirmed damage though, but G2 do keep all 5 players alive and back away to the site.
Yep, Hunter exceedingly fortunate to be alive. Ston as well, very, very low, and Hunter, he is everywhere. Towards mid now, ensuring no one's going to be pushing in towards CD spawn. It's going to be very brave, peering down the mid corridor. I want to see. Oh, did he see someone? I'm not sure. I think there's an inkling. The flash is going to be a tell. He shouldn't be going for the re-peek here, but it's still going to be holding the line. Heroic, a lot of pressure here towards the A-ramp positions. Dawn, in the meantime, with the AWP lurk on 5 HP, unorthodox, but it is Dawn. As right now, Heroic, making no secret, they're going to be heading in towards the A-bombs and making a lot of noise. Utility getting deployed, but niko will be the first line of defense alongside modesty.
He's been chipped away down to 39 off grenades, off wall bangs, off the sheer bullets. A barrage of them find its way. But there's 23 seconds left to flash into the peak, and the weakened niko has now been finished off. Smoke onto the site as well. A trifecta of CTs are laid in wait, but one of them has been dethroned. Hunter with shrapnel. Modesty takes the shot, connects, backs away into the shadows, and allows Alexi to do the rest. 5 seconds to go. There's no grenades, though, to stop this plant. I don't think they can deny this. With 1 second, the bombs get planted down, and Heroic managed to clutch it out by the skin of their teeth.
27 HP between the 3 surviving members of Heroic. It could not have been any closer. Vince, you said it best. One nade, round's done. 1 HE, the round is done. Round is won by G2, but Heroic, by the skin of the teeth, they hold on. And not only do they win the round, they take away all the rifles from the hands of G2. So now G2 down to the bottom of the barrel, scraping the bottom of the barrel to eke out the buy here. It's still a very solid buy, mind you. They still have a bit of utility. Albeit Jax and Hunter just smoke and flash respectively. Alexi B down to the FAMAS. He's got no utility to speak of, but aggressive, a little bit of a stack here towards mid. They know Heroic have been poking and prodding towards the mid position multiple times, and they really haven't gone for the stack at all. Unfortunately for them, this time around, Heroic opt to go for the B stairs position, slowly creeping and crawling. Caden just holding the angle. Just the one man towards the bottom of ramp. That is, of course, Tess's. But the B bomb site has been where G2 have found their most success, Vince. It has been Jax being phenomenal, winning virtually every opening duel, clutching it out, dancing around, doing the dance macabre with Alexi B around the generated pillars area, and they've not ever seemed to have found the solution to him. In the meantime, Monacy catching Cadian. That's a huge opening pick to find.
That's the problem, isn't it, for Heroic on the B side? You've got this incredible wall that's been built up, and Hunter is pushed mid. We haven't really seen this from G2 yet. It's completely caught down off guard. But there is no easy part of the map for them to progress on. Wherever they go, it's just fraught with terrors, fraught with traps, fraught with issues they have to contend with. And with 35 seconds now, niko's stuck on the sandbags. As Munacy watching his back, they're going to Molotov this one in. niko may feel compelled to just push around, but the smoke is there to defuse it. And now Texas comes in. Big entries from him and Shush, but Munacy is still alive, but only for a couple more seconds. And now it falls upon Alexi and Jax to successfully retake and clutch again, and Alexi is making moves through the scaffolding. Has the AWP in hand, misses the shot and could get punished. Nails him with the no-scope through the wall, however, but Alexi showing why he doesn't AWP too often. And now Jax has it all to do. Big frag down, and Tessis on low HP just has to play the time, but he's not sure if Jax is holding on to this one, and Jax removes his head. He doesn't have a kit, though. It's going to be close, but I think he has this one in the bag.
He's got it.
And G2 will be 15-13 in the lead.
What a round from Jax. What a round from Jax, saving his team, and so many times, Vince, it's come close to clutching these moments multiple times in this game thus far. Finally, Lady Luck will smile down upon him. Perfect crosser placement there at the very end. He was blinded, but it just commits to the spray, gets the headshot. Brilliantly played. LXCB, like you said, not really known for being an AWPer. A couple of whiff shots. But it's all good in the G2 camp for now. They're going to be using the final tactical timeout here to talk things through. They need one more round to close this one out. And Heroic. Oh boy. I won't lie. I didn't see this coming. I had Heroic as favorites in this matchup, but G2, they showed the clutch ability, they showed grit, they showed the prowess, and what an opening. This is the second time he's found a kill from that exact very angle, the exact little pixel for him to see. And you can see how much this means. You can see how much this means. This is such a big win to go 2-1 up in the Legend stage, and Heroic now, 2 opportunities, Vince, to try and take it to OT. And for G2, now is when they just choke them out. Now is when they shut it down, and they're going to be going for a fast play towards B, and once more, Jax will be asked to answer the call of duty.
Oh, we've seen this aggression before. I think Shush may have just bypassed with a flashbang. They have no idea he's to the side left, and Alexi's going to get caught out. He gets fragged down as well, and because Jax has played this angle so many times, Shush will do his due diligence. He will find him, he will frag him. And just like that, the B side is completely barren of CTs.
The danger's not abated yet for G2, even though they want to save, and they have to save. Tessus is there. He's going to try and hunt his weapons down, but unfortunately for him, the double swing comes in. Hunter and Niko grouping up, but there's still yet another one on the hunt, and it is Storm.
Oh, this is huge. This is so massive, but he's also flubbed his spray. Should be getting that done. The grenade may finish off what he started, but no, Niko stands tall. That's AK-47s donated across. That's bolstered up G2's buy.
Look, firstly, I completely understand why Heroic are going for the hunt here, right? If you look at the economy of G2, it's non-existent right now. And every weapon they can save is going to be so instrumental in them trying to close this out come round number 13. What an opening. They finally cracked the puzzle. They finally cracked the code. A massive 2K from Shush, finding LXCB with his pants down, not expecting, as you pointed out, Vince, for him to be so very close by. And then he immediately spins around and looks at the direction of the pillars where Jax has been there time and time and time again. The B bomb site finally falling to Heroic in a bye round as we enter the final round here. Is it going to be G2 taking it 16-14, or are we going to be seeing OT? That's the question on everyone's lips. That's a question on the players' lips as well. Monis looking to take the fight. He is blinded. However, he takes a shot, but doesn't quite find anything.
Not fully punished though, only tanked down to 74, so he doesn't get fragged out. Imagine he loses his life that early in the round. That could have been the curtain coming down and taking us to OT. Heroic in the meanwhile, though, going to make the most of this momentary weakness. A grenade up and over, doing significant damage. Actually, it doesn't. Lands the wrong side of the wall. Tessus can count himself lucky. And now we're seeing some desperation nades being tossed out. Flashbang up and over. They block each other. But Caden at least makes the most of that. Tess is blinded, desperately trying to get the hell out of there. But his IGL stands his ground. And now could be another peek in. Niko gets pop flashed in, but Cadian can escape.
Good smoke there to try and reclaim back control of short. Losing this would be quite problematic, and Niko's pushing very, very deep. He's trapped in the corner. He even reads it to perfection. He knows if anyone's pushing aggressively right now, the Molotov's keeping them at bay, and that is a headshot angle. The P250, it drops Niko. Now player advantage here for Heroic. And look at the lure coming in towards the B bomb side as well. They're pushing, they're poking and prodding both the extremities of the map. You can see Refresh making a lot of noise, drawing out the rotation. There's no one at the B bomb side, Vince.
Nobody in the B-bomb site, and Refresh is keeping them busy. Jax now will show his hand with a FAMAS. There's one. Can keep alive in the generators. 23 seconds to play with KD. Misses his shot, but Refresh is nullifying the rest of the CTs. And Alexi, with just an SMG by his side, has to go above and beyond. Has to become a hero, but there's no fairy tale ending just yet. Overtime is coming right up.
Boys. Nice fucking choke.
Did he say let's fucking choke? Oh, sorry. F-bomb. I dropped it.
Whoops.
Whoopsie. But he said it first. It's fine. Okay. All right. Heroic. I don't even know how they managed to bring this one back. I really thought G2 had this one in the back. They had such a stranglehold on CD's side, but Heroic finally cracking open the code of the B bombs at the previous round, and that was such a good round. The Refresh trying his best to sell the fake towards A, and not just selling the fake, Vince, he actually gets the kill as well onto the A bombs, and suddenly all the pressure is on to Jax, again doing his best with the FAMAS to get a kill. But then LXB at the end, 1v3, MP9 in hand, not much he could do. OT, here we go. And you know what? That's what I want to see. A game like this with G2 and Heroic, I want to see more than 30 rounds. Everyone wants to see more than 30 rounds here, except maybe not G2, because they did have that point for a couple of opportunities there. And here we go. Everything gets reset again, ladies and gentlemen. F5 have been pressed. The rifles are out for both the sides. m0NESY, once more, looking to be the difference maker. And Heroic, exerting a little bit of presence towards both the extremities of the map. You can see Shush over there slowly creeping up, trying to catch Jax. And despite round number 29, where they capitulated, Jax and LXB fell, this B-bomb set has been a fortress for G2.
It has, yeah. There's been a couple of misplays, but for the most part, they've been solid. m0NESY, we've seen him land these shots before, Tessis. Please, you're playing with fire. You might just get burnt. Speaking of which, a molly finds its way down on the ramp, and so does a smoke. Ends in a bit of a stalemate. There's a gap there, though, that m0NESY can try and exploit.
He's gotten so many impactful kills from this very position, right? He just gets on top of those railings and then catches someone lining up smoke. Now, Heroic, I think they're going to be cognizant of the fact now. Here comes the incendiaries getting deployed. niko is trapped.
Oh, he has to stand his ground. He knows his back is to the wall, but that's sometimes where the animal is at its most dangerous. niko nearly gets two. It's one frag and a headshot onto Shush. 30 seconds. Molotov will force away m0NESY from side, but he will smoke it down. Another Molotov. They're cordoning the CTs back onto the deep side of the site, and it will allow them to potentially divide and conquer, but m0NESY is still there. Flash of forwards, refresh, safe passage, but again, it's a ruse. It's all a bait. Is there enough time, though? Especially as refresh has been picked off so far before anyone else, but they do have it. But Hunter and Jax, once again, delivering when it really counts. Cadian is still alive, still healthy, still in with a chance, but he misses his shot. Now Shush on a measly 10 HP that was weakened from niko earlier on is all that remains for Heroic. He's being flashed around, he's being bullied back onto the T side, and he realizes this round is over. G2 claim first blood in OT.
It is unwinnable. Hunter sticks to defuse. They were so confident. Hunter's the only one who didn't even have a kit, Vince, and he went for the defuse. He's like, yeah, this one we cannot lose. G2 convincing round win. That was, again, same call coming in from the side of Heroic. We had a refresh faking towards A. They get the bomb down, and they even had the player with the forward positioning behind Generator, but then Jax, like a... I don't even know how he gets that kill. Just swings out wide, instant headshot. G2 now. Slight little lead. 1-0 up here in OT. Fast play towards mid. Molotov will not be respected, and they will force their way through. However, they don't push further anymore. There is Hunter and LXB holding towards mid. In the meantime, we do have a couple of players here for Heroic. Again, poking and prodding towards ramp. It's been a constant battle for ramp, and it's gone back and forth multiple times, in all honesty. You can see Cadian already waiting for m0NESY to go for that very same pick again. See, great flashbang, enabling him to go for that one pre-fire shot, and also allowing niko a little bit of window of opportunity to escape. Now m0NESY is purged. Now he's waiting for them to present ahead.
Just a single pixel required, and m0NESY will snatch the life out of you, as he's shown so many times. Does miss this one time, though, but in a way in which he can just retreat back again. Tessis gets aggressive, and his head has been removed, and with all of that early bobbing and weaving between the two teams and this jockeying for position over ramp, Refresh and Cadian were tagged in the process off HEs and stray bullets. Shush, though, making moves up on the B side as Jax doesn't matter, still wins that trade. This Shadow betrays Jackson, he still comes out ahead. A player that's come under so much scrutiny over the years, but he's having one hell of a performance here when it really counts. And with 25 seconds left on the clock, G2 may have the two-player advantage, but Heroic still have opportunities. Refresh through the smoke, perforates niko, eviscerates him out of the round, but now the player around the corner of Hunter's going to show his hand, and the A1S will sing victory once more.
Again, time betraying them. They had to make a little bit of haste to deploy the smokes, but the positioning there, right? niko and Hunter. Sure, they catch Hunter inside of the smoke, spamming away, but they weren't expecting the second player to be there. Hunter sealing the deal. 2 rounds. Won by G2. Can they make this a flawless CD side? Because that could be rough for Heroic. That means they would have to battle it out in OT number 2. That means they need to have their own flawless CD side. And we saw that it wasn't flawless in the first half of regulation. Final tactical timeout getting called here by Exist and Cadian for the men as they talk things through. They need one here. They need a lifeline. They need some bit of a cushion to work with as we will be heading into the second half of the first OT. And right now, G2, bit of a resurgence. They lost the last couple of rounds of regulation, but these couple of rounds have been pretty solid thus far. Again, Jax Vince. It doesn't have to be a multi-kill every single time, but he always seems to come out on top 90% of the time in some of those B duels. A faster play here this time around from Heroic towards the A ramp position.
Has been dealt with so well by G2, just off of some well-placed incendiaries and smokes, and it allowed Tessis to get shredded down from the shrapnel of the HE tossed out from niko. He drops to 55. Now Molly's being exchanged onto the sandbags as Tessis tries to regain some aggression and does deal the fatal blow into niko through the smoke. A huge pick, and in the meanwhile they're pushing middle additionally, but Alexi had a chance. It was a brief opportunity, one that he doesn't capitalize on, and now the CTs are being overwhelmed. They're being flanked from all sides. Jax on the B side gets aggressive and will be rewarded for his hubris, but it may be short-lived. He knows he's encircled by T's. He knows he's living on borrowed time, and Shush will collect. Hunter and m0NESY, the only 2 remaining straggling CTs, and Cadian is watching the back. m0NESY should be a dead man and gets nailed in by Cadian, leaving Hunter 1 versus 4. He's being flanked, he's being pushed and probed from every single conceivable angle. And surely he goes down to the hands of Tessis. They don't get clean swept in the first OT half. It does give them a little bit of a lifeline here for the Danes.
Great round from Heroic there, and we spoke about it. We said they needed this one round. They called the tag timeout, going for the eventual hit towards the B bombs. And this time wasn't an enemy Vince. They had oodles of time to work with. They were able to encircle the B bomb site. Alexi B, the angle he held there towards mid, not exactly ideal, getting caught off guard. 2 players holding his position. And then Jax, he did his desperate best. He gets to 1 kill towards the B stairs. In that position, I kind of thought he might drop towards B stairs and just gamble the fight. Of course, he didn't know there's only one more player there, right?
Yeah.
But maybe take the gamble fight over there and play towards stairs. It would have enabled them to potentially maybe turn the round around, but could have, would have, should have. Here we go. Second half of OT number 1, G2 with a 1-round lead. And now they're going to be on the T side. And they come charging straight out mid, and Ston will find Jax. Jax is running into the flames, hoping to catch CT off guard. Ston, his crosshair was trained on him. He didn't budge. m0NESY, though, looking to find Cadian. But Cadian, he finds a kill, but he will be traded. The trades are fast and furious, and Heroic are coming out on top.
They are Alexi's last man standing, and he's way back in spawn. Even damage exchange pretty much between him and Stown, and that is not a good enough engagement on the side of G2. They needed a clean kill to get them back into this one. Instead, though, it's looking good for Heroic to tie us up. Alexi about to get fragged by Shush, and 17 apiece. It will rest. Keep in mind as well, Blair, that most of these rounds have gone the way of the CT side. So when it comes to this CT side Heroic, this is feasible now. They could even extend this.
And to tie things up, right? They've tied things up perfectly once more. So despite having a rough start to the OT on the T side, right now, I'd say Heroic, they might even be in the driver's seat. And G2, what can they do? Oh, it'd be heartbreaking for G2 to lose again in OT events. Remember the game we had yesterday against NaVi as well, how close that was. Now Heroic, Ston, oh, so lucky to stay alive. m0NESY, very capable of hitting shots like that. A bit of a wild duel towards the smoke. Tessis finds one.
Oh, the second departing gift as niko tries to retreat, but the nade lands in his back pocket. Oh, that is so massive if you're Heroic right now. And niko having a bit of an uncharacteristic slow game. 46 ADR. 17 kills, bottom of the scoreboard. How often can you say that about niko?
That is so rare, right? And oh, Jax, the timing. I love it from Heroic. They have a two-man advantage, and yet the re-aggression coming out here towards mid, refresh, clearing out all the usual angles. He could head on towards ladder, but even if he comes up from T-spawn, that's huge. A little bit of a cheeky run boost, but Heroic in a 5 versus 3, they know there's no need to face ahead aggressively. They know they can just keep delaying G2, utilize the weaponry you have, and you can see the player slowly peeling back. Refresh is heading towards a B bomb site, but the moment he doesn't spot anyone towards the stairs, that's the call. It's going to be an A hit, and G2 are going to be walking into a wall of CTs.
And this wall doesn't look like it's going to budge. Sledgehammers need to be brought out. Get the drills out, G2. They need some entries, and they desperately require them right now. 20 seconds to play with. m0NESY darting past the flash. Out comes Tessis, but it's an even trade. That is good enough for Heroic, and it just got that little bit sweeter as cadiaN goes back in for another. Jax, who's been having a great game so far, is pitted against the world. There's no time, the bomb's not under control, and these are just consolation frags. The round is done. Heroic have a match point of their own.
What a turnaround it's been. G2. And this is, mind you, it's been an incredible game from G2 regulation-wise when you had Heroic winning the pistol and, just winning some rounds they had no business winning, with the force spikes and whatnot. G2 getting the map point before cadiaN and his men did. But Heroic now, 3 in a row. It was 17 and 15. Blink and you miss it. Heroic now firmly in the driver's seat. And look at buy Vince. It is not great at all for the side of G2. A MAC-10 for Jax, a Deagle in the hands of m0NESY, 3 AK-47s as they try and force their way up towards the ramp position. And they're taking so much damage from the utility being deployed by Heroic. A couple of bullets as well, the wall bangs. Alexi B down to 51 points of health. Jax on 50 HP as well. They are just getting harassed by Heroic as they slowly creep up towards the A ramp.
It would appear that final curtain is beginning its descent here on the skyscraper of Vertigo. It's down to G2 if they want to cut it short. And then wrap Heroic with it, get into a second OT. The aggression is forthcoming, flashes are back and forth, but the trade is good for the Danes. They go 2-1, and now Jax, Hunter, and m0NESY have got to try and hold on to this. Got to try and repel this push. Beautiful 1D from m0NESY, but that's where his life will come to an abrupt end. And now Jax and Hunter have got to pick up the slack. Great spray from Hunter, keeping them in with an opportunity here. There's still plenty of time as well, but one of the two players has to go back and pick up the bomb, and that's a few seconds. And a pair of eyes that's going to be away from the danger zone, and that's Refresh on the con side. They're double stacking this one, but a big headshot from Hunter, and now Shush is last man standing. Have they spotted him? Well, now they definitely know his position as the headshot comes through thick and fast, and Shush puts the last nail in the coffin. Heroic have battled against the odds, come back, take an OT, and made this match theirs.
Incredible comeback from cadiaN. You can see how this it means to them. And we could go back to what the desk spoke about as well. For Heroic, it's winning these games against the top dogs in a LAN environment. That is what is so imperative for them. Yesterday, it was, for G2, it was a very narrow loss against NaVi. Coming into this matchup, it looked like we're slipping away from the fingers, Vince. An incredible CD side from G2, shutting it down. And Heroic, they won both the pistol rounds. They won not just the pistol rounds, but the anti-ecos as well. And despite having that massive advantage, it looked like things were going to be slipping out of their fingers. But great resurgence coming in from Heroic at the end, taking us to OT. And even there, G2 winning the first couple of rounds. But then Heroic, they turned it around. And in the end, Shush, not necessarily the player you're looking for when you look at his Heroic side. You're looking at, your Stawns, you're looking at Tessis, who looked incredible, you're looking at cadiaN to pop off, but it is Shush who quiets down G2 at the end. A perfectly played 1 versus 2. And for G2, you got to feel for them. I think Jax was phenomenal that game. I think he had an incredible game. Hunter as well, especially in the first half. But in the end, it was not to be. And what do you think about it? One of the favorites. They are, let me listen, G2 are one of the favorites of this tournament, of the entire major. And right now, they're 1 and 2.
They looked a bit despondent there at the end. You can understand why. They had multiple match points of their own, goes OT, and then they ended up just slipping away. However, we're going to catch a breath. We're going to head over to the desk to break down that epic game that you just witnessed.
A breath is certainly needed indeed. A game that goes the extra mile in OT. Unfortunately for G2, they once again let it slip through their fingers. The Danes prevail in a match that got dicey, got crazy, particularly in those final moments. Heroic, they are 2-1 up in the Legend stage now.
They are. You know what Cadian said right when that game hit OT? He yelled in the studio, "Nice choke, boys." And that is what happened there.
Yeah.
G2 were ahead. They had every reason to win that, close it out in regulation. But the comeback there from Heroic, I'm just going to say I believed in that. That was some impressive stuff. I love what I see from Shush. This guy is one of the most exceptional players at receiving almost no resources and thriving, despite the fact that he is by his lonesome so frequently.
Don't get me wrong, Maui. I am going to join you on that Heroic hype train. I will definitely get there, but first I have to make a stop at Tilt City for G2. Truly a tilter of a moment. If you are G2, they played a great game of Counter-Strike. They lost both pistol rounds, and yet they were able to make it extremely competitive. They had everything they needed on that CT side. And I have flash resurgence from the NaVi game.
Yep.
Once again, it's G2 in a very commanding positions, having all the chips they need to close the game, allowing their opponents to fight back, and this is getting extremely problematic.
We got up here at, what was it, 14-12 the scoreline in favor of G2, saying, you know what, if G2 can close out a game cleanly, that is another win in itself coming into this one. It's such a shame because there were so many good looks from G2 coming into this one. We just heard it from Blair. Obviously, Jax having a great game. Hunter, particularly in that first half as well, making so much space. It's just such a shame to see them like that slip through their fingers again.
I said the same thing, actually, when they lost to NaVi, that it felt like a wasted performance from Hunter, and we get another one. He, again, in the mid-round, brings so many rounds back, man-deficit ones that are in 3v3s, 4v4s. I feel like Hunter is just always good for a multi-frag in these kinds of situations, and yet they couldn't quite get it over the edge. Jax as well. He had so many phenomenal entries. He held his sight down pretty well on top of that, but I think that Heroic strategy to attack the B site with that early shush lurk towards that close right position, that was such an exceptional play, and it worked off 2 times.
What really hurts me is that before that, Jax had actually put a beautiful defense.
Yes.
Like truly, they had put all the chips in the right position, both Alexibi and Jax flashing for each other out. And then when it's 15-13, and we see Heroic getting bottleneck towards the B side, we think this should be it. And then Alexibi gets caught off guard with the utility in his hand.
Yep.
Jax is then in the position that he always was in. So it truly feels like this last step is missing, right? The 16, the freaking 16 if you are G2, and you command Hunter. It's completely correct, but do we talk about niko? And niko just traversing this game, sort of a shadow of himself. Truly, he could have had many opportunities, but he was shut down by Heroic on the ace.
Yeah, he had such a difficult game just trying to get sort of any room into it. There was one round, though, we are going to bring up round number 7, way earlier on in the game, where he did have some of that instrumental impact, but unfortunately just couldn't really be continuing that along a trend.
Yeah, which makes this performance as a whole even more puzzling, if you will, because we will see in this round, it's a very tight ship that G2 is navigating here. We have 10 seconds before they try to plant the bomb. The Molotov down from Heroic. You think they have all the pieces they need, and that flank from niko, absolute perfection. Only tapping, by the way, a niko signature, of course, 3 people in front of him, and he taps. I thought this was it. I thought this was the round he needed to just skyrocket into this great performance, and somehow he slowed down halfway through the game.
He could never recapture that magic from that round. The niko that we love to see, the one that when he's presented target options and he always chooses the most efficient route to dispatch them all, couldn't get those kind of looks. When Tessus was fighting him on ramp, he was losing that battle more times than not. The smoke fights do not seem to be one of the comforts of niko towards A ramp. I think that a few players right now in that specific position just have his number. I don't think that this is too much cause for concern in terms of the greater picture of things, but this is a problem map for G2. I think that the quality of wins that they've had, even though they are flawless on this map before this one, they're just low quality wins. They barely scrape by beating an Astralis in the past, and some of the other teams that they beat, I just don't actually respect their vertigo as much as a team like Heroics.
I want to throw one of the more crazy rounds into the mix as well that came at this sort of tail end stage of this game. We've got round 28. What is this one illustrating?
Round 28 is actually sort of a preview of the catastrophe that was going to happen for G2, because it's a victory from G2, but at what cost? We'll see how it pans out. It starts with m0NESY finding this beautiful entry frag onto Cadian. Hunter sniffs his timing mid, puts down Stone, and that's a 5v3, right? This should be it. G2 should be very comfortably moving into this round. niko gets Molotov smoked in, there's a nice clear coming in from Tesis, and then it falls apart. Hunter is caught off guard, m0NESY is trying but gets traded. This should not have been a 2 versus 2 with 18 seconds left. You will see Alexibi here with a fail with the AWP, finally being found, and the problem that I have is that, and as much as I want to commend him, Jax is going to have to be the hero in this 1 versus 2. He's bringing 2 beautiful headshots, taps the bomb right here, and then goes on for the kill towards the very end, and that's fantastic. Jackie, high five. But I think that it hides the situation.
Yes.
It hides the truth. We should not be requiring a beautiful 1 versus 2 for Jax if it's a 5v3. And it's exactly what unraveled in the next few rounds.
The openers were excellent for G2, but yeah, those mid rounds and things, other than some bright moments from Hunter and that clutch from Jax, more often than not, it felt like Heroic was able to piece some things together there. And I think that's a worrying sign for G2 moving forward, because there are protocols to deal with your sandbags player getting mollied out. Usually there's a quick flash from a teammate, a swing from maybe the ramp or the top of the ramp and that sandbags player, something to get him out of trouble right there. And that really didn't happen. They just got up into the site. They found double entries on both sides. So props to Heroic for having great clears, but also I think that G2 might be missing a step right there in terms of a protocol reaction.
And I like that he mentions Heroic, because then we can flip the script and we can talk about Heroic and we can praise them and we can commend them for these last few seconds in every round. I remember reading in the HLTV interview from Cadian where he said, you know what, our playstyle requires everyone to be on one, good communication, because we have a lot of split-second decisions and it gets a little bit crazy. Here, it felt like they were in control. Yeah. It felt like no matter how much the pressure was mounting, in the last 20-25 seconds, they had a clear ID. They sent Shush a couple of times with the A fake, as you mentioned, but the B hits were ready. It just felt like they were in the zone, which is a very thin line they're walking, but here they did it perfectly.
I really like that you bring up, and you as well, Mario, Shush's name into the equation as well. Not somebody that we're always looking at to be stepping up on the side of Heroic. There are plenty of other stars on that roster. And we were actually having a conversation with Chad in the green room saying, you know, are we putting him as one of the top 3 players in his role in the world of Counter-Strike? I think, you know, after that, definitely solidified.
I think so. I think I would probably only consider someone maybe like Rops, but Rops seems to get a lot more space and time to carry out whatever his plan is. Whereas Shush, he kind of just has to, on T side, just act out the plan that Cadian has for him. But usually it's just about staying alive for Shush. That's the name of the game for him in 80% of the rounds, maybe even 90% of the rounds. Small side anchor, kind of guy on the extremities of the map, just has to do whatever the strat dictates. Those kind of moments is where Shush actually thrives.
Yes.
He's actually just so good at being a soldier in those sort of rounds where there's not even much autonomy given to him. He just has to do so much in the most narrow confines.
And if he does have a good performance, then the net positive is gigantic, right? It's a little bit like Jax. Yeah. Whenever Jax hits the stride, you're left thinking, oh my god, that's huge. I think about the positions and the roles and his delivering. I just think Shush does it with more consistency and at a higher level, right? In this game again, 28 kills, 1v2 towards the very end. What else do you need? The man stepped up massively.
Yeah, the one point I want to finish on is that Heroic are never creating a game plan for Shush, and yet he still can find so much impact.
Well, Heroic do go up 2-1 after that series versus G2, or another 1-1 matchup on the cards after this break. It's Cloud9 taking on FaZe, and you don't want to miss it.
Now that's what we call Major. 14 days of high-octane action. 14 days of fierce battles. 14 days of special bonuses from GG Bet. Whoop, cheer, and make your fortune.
I've grabbed Axar because he's a special guy, and he's a special guy from Cloud9 here at the Legend stage at the PGL Major. And today, I am challenging you to design our new trophy, Axar, because we might not have one. We haven't seen one in the building yet. So, Axar, are you good at drawing?
Okay, let's go.
Is this the bottom of the trophy?
Yes.
Brilliant, okay. I can already tell this is going to be beautiful.
I will try to do it big, because big trophies is very good.
It's kind of like a tree at the moment. But I like it. Nature is beautiful, and so are trophies when you've spent your whole life wanting to lift one, and you finally do. I also like how careful you are.
Like this.
Yeah. So it's going to be an open trophy. So if you wanted, you heat up the samovar and you brew some tea in the trophy. Do you want to give it the other handle? I think give it the other handle.
I think one more.
Trust your instincts. Yeah. Trust your instincts. NaVi, come tell me what you think of this trophy. NaVi, what do you think of Axar's drawing? You like this detail?
Not really. I guess you do, to be honest.
Fantasy.
Do you think you're going to be lifting the actual trophy at the Major in a week's time?
We will see. We will try to do our best. Now it's way better, but it seems like it's not AWP. It seems like it's some weapon from Call of Duty.
I love this. I love... Actually, the handles are like a circle with the AWP/Call of Duty gun in the middle. That was just a little bit longer. That would be perfect. It actually looks like a pin.
I guess it's too tight. I mean, it's hard to lift it. Now it's better, I told you. Now it seems like a good trophy because it's a smart one.
With the greatest of respect, stick to Counter-Strike. Is that okay? Can I send you off to practice?
Okay. We need to add some. Sorry, I'm really sorry, but we need to add. It's like strike, counter, you know? It's like future.
This is so we've got a new challenge now. We're literally designing a new game.
Yes, that's why. I told you.
I like also...
It's important.
Can I also say, 2047, this strike counter is going to happen in 2047, and also by that point, Apex Legends is not going to be a 3-person game, it's going to be a 1-person game, and Axar's going to be the champion.
5-person game, but it's like A, X, 1, L, and E. It's like 5 different players.
Boys, thank you so much for the trophy. Axar, I want you to sign this. NaVi, I would like you to work on your chess skills, and then maybe next Major we'll have a play.
Yeah, also we can think about like new game, not this one, but the next one, about like chess, Counter-Strike, Apex Legends, Dota 2 game. It will be MOBA game, but shooter. Seems like it's like the future, I told you.
Okay, well, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to make a few calls. I'm going to make Strike Counter and all these other games happen. This man's a genius. We're going to go into business together.
Our next 1-1 matchup as Cloud9 are colliding with FaZe. 2 of the top dogs in the tournament, but one will be down a footing after this best-of-1 series. So, Maui Snake, Maniac, initial thoughts after what we saw of both FaZe and Cloud9 competing yesterday?
Well, we can start by setting expectations for these two teams, right? You said it, top dogs. FaZe, by all account, the favorite, not almighty favorite, but still the favorite for this major. They've won every single event, or they've won every single qualification they intended in 2022. They come in hot, and on the side of Cloud9, the top 4 of last major, still extremely high expectations on their shoulders, also represent this new organization they have. We should not be talking about these two teams in a 1-1 game, where, you know, it can get very slippery down in 1-2.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we just saw what happened between Heroic and G2.
G2 is there now.
It's going to be a bloodbath, this game, without any shred of a doubt of that. But talking about the recent results from these teams, I think that some of the losses might feel a little bit uncharacteristic. The way that FaZe lost yesterday to Ence, it was kind of a battering. It didn't feel particularly close, and FaZe made a lot of sort of poor mistakes in terms of teamwork. It felt like the first game of the day, they just weren't ready to play that team CS. Maybe too much FPL, maybe not enough team scrimming, whatever it is, I don't know, but they just had too much confidence in their individual ability, whereas on the side of Cloud9 here, the way they lost to NIP, they lost the late game. They lost, usually they're grinding those kind of moments out, but they couldn't get it done in crunch time, which is usually where where they thrive.
Particularly looking on the side of FaZe coming into this one, of course, as you pre-FaZe, unfortunately losing to Ence, managing to bounce back completely against the Bad News Eagles 16-4. And I just wanted to bring up a point that Twist was saying in an interview, I think it was with Dust 2. He was talking about the fact that he came into that game versus Ence, they weren't playing aggressively enough, they weren't playing proactively enough. But I feel like we've got a whole different kettle of fish coming into the boys from Cloud9.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, stylistically, this is not going to be the same matchup for FaZe. If you struggled against the sheer aggression and the craziness on the side of Ence, Cloud9 is not going to eat you with the same sauce. But I think the problem remains. If you are FaZe, and if there is any side of your unconscious that thinks the victory is going to come to you on its own because you are that good and because you are shining as an individual, you are wrong. And you're in for a very, very bad surprise. You still have to go ahead and win the game, actively making decisions, taking charge. What Kerrigan has been known for, what FaZe has been known for. If they are waiting for the victory, they'll be bad or in a bad position.
Can't play on your heels against a team like Cloud9. Once a team like C9 has space, they just convert so easily. So yes, we do need to see a little bit more proactivity coming out, but I also want to see them just employ basic fundamental teamwork. I want to see them trade each other out. I don't want to see people individually peaking. It just needs to come in a game plan. If they put something together today in order to take C9 out of their comfort zone, that's a bright sign for them. If they just continue to try to make individual pushes, individual peaks, then I would give this one to Cloud9. But I don't think FaZe will take this that way.
I still think that stylistically FaZe is in a very good position right now. Right? We can compare, we can think about the Cloud9 game versus NIP, way too passive for my likings, allowing Hampus to figure out solutions and all grab that map control. FaZe, or Kerrigan for that matter, is going to do exactly the same, but in a shorter amount of time. And I think it's always been the issue if you're Cloud9, Gambit of yesteryear, and that you would give the map control away to Kerrigan and he would take it instantly. He would know when he could push you. He would basically strangle you in a very small position of the map. And that cannot be happened to allowed again.
Exactly. Cloud9 style is always about just taking things slowly, methodically, getting every round down to the last 15 seconds of it, practically speaking. But the problem is that, like you're saying, Maniac, when that happens and when FaZe are able to take space, there's just simply too many angles to clear on every single map. You can't give up space every single round. You need to have a little bit more spice. You need a little bit more fervor when you are taking something away from FaZe. You can't just jiggle into every angle, and that's kind of been the Axile Hobbit special.
Yes, thank you for mentioning this. I feel like the spark we're talking about not only encompasses the tactical side of things, but the player, the individual side of things for Cloud9. If you ask me, do they play a fundamentally good Counter-Strike? Absolutely. Do they know how to optimize situations? Absolutely, no worries. But sometimes it's the moment to change the pace. It's the moment to do something that might not be a 60-40, maybe it's a 50-50, but you have to do it. You have to take that duel and get stuck in. I haven't seen that. I feel like it's either by the books, following the stats and the logic, or it doesn't happen and you lose.
What is so worrying about wanting to see a pace change come out from Cloud9 is that yesterday, when they were playing against NIP, they tried it. They tried to play a little bit faster. Axile started pushing through smokes. He started taking some little gamble plays, and none of them worked. They all just fell flat on their face. Even when they tried taking map control quickly, I feel like they were beaten down by NIP, and then they just ended up saving. If they lose those first couple kills, they'll just back on up. They're okay with that. But what I know about Cloud9 is that they have such quality players that they shouldn't count themselves out of a round when it becomes a 3v5 and there's a minute to play with. There are looks you can find for yourself, and FaZe is a team that has given those up. In their game against Ence, they gave up a lot of picks like that when there was no reason that they should have. So don't just give up if you're Cloud9. If you lose your opening fight, you need to still keep trying and prodding, because FaZe aren't the most disciplined team, if we're being completely honest.
Yeah, no, it is a really good point coming into things. I like that we just got to see the Axel and Rob's comparison in terms of those roles and what we're expecting coming into things. I do want to throw the AWPers into the spotlight as well. We've got Broken, we've got Shiro, two huge names on the side of both teams.
I mean, Shiro is on track to establish himself as the second best player in the world. If you're looking at the stats right now, it's only Simple that's flying high, and he always will be up there. Shiro is the one that was just shy away from Niko and Zaiwu last year, but he's got a golden opportunity because both these superstars aren't exactly showing the best that they can do right now. But for Shiro, I still think the last step is here at the major. This is what, if there's any doubters out there, any people who aren't on the Shiro hype train yet, they'll use that moment to tell you why he doesn't belong at the top, because we haven't seen him take over in such prestigious moments, and that's the only thing I'm missing and I want to see from Shiro.
There have been glimpses of Shiro in this year where he has tried to expand his playbook, throwing in a couple more entry plays, trying to get that opening kill attempt rate up in games and in tournaments, but it seems like when it comes to the big moments, he regresses back to what he is used to and more comfortable doing, which is his passive style.
Passive a little bit.
And it looks great on the stat page because he has the best kill death ratio in the world of anyone on a top 30 team. But the thing is that it's just a little too far back for my liking sometimes. A player like Brokey does also play a slightly more passive style than the typical Opper, but he still finds ways to get involved in FaZe. There are riflers that are always going to enable Brokey, that'll throw their life forward so that he can take a little bit more space, get behind that single piece of cover that he loves, and then find 2 quick and easy shots.
Whilst the map V2 does roll out on our screen, we've also got to highlight the fact there's so much historical context coming up against these two teams. They know each other very, very well, and FaZe, Karrigan's men,
hold on. I was just touching my eyes just to make sure I haven't lost the plot right here. Can someone just take my pulse? Because maybe I'm about to fast out. Are we really playing Nuke? It's really Cloud9 allowing Nuke right now, a map that they haven't played. Is that what's happening?
This is the most ridiculous veto we have seen in the stage, in the challenger stage, the legend stage. This is a curveball pick. I don't know where this came from. Cloud9 right now allowing their permaban through. This has to be one of the craziest game plans I have seen coming into any of these games.
Yeah, there's actually zero data on this.
I know there isn't any. Look at this Stone Cold from NaVi.
Oh. Wow, okay. I mean, as we catch our breath.
Yes, okay. Let's try and make sense of all
I mean, I was going to ask expectations, but we actually just don't know.
There is 2 routes, 2 roads, I guess, we can go down on with that scenario. We can either say it's a genius move because it throws off all the mind game that Karrigan could potentially put together, and that's the way NaVi gets his edge over Karrigan. Or the more pessimistic approach is to say this is a capitulation on the maps that he generally Cloud9 likes to play, and it's just basically giving up. Listen, Karrigan, I can't beat you. FaZe, we cannot beat you, and we're gonna try to just shuffle the cards. I don't know what road I want to embark on right now.
I don't know where to put this one for Cloud9, but I will say that FaZe's defense on this map has been exceptional. I do not see them giving up easy T-side rounds, and just fundamentally speaking, the way that Cloud9 has liked to play does not make sense for Nuke. Jiggle peeking into every single angle is impossible when every time you jiggle into a new angle, there's an upward spot that they could be, there's a lower spot they can be, left, right, doesn't matter. That doesn't work if you're Axile. You need to have a different style when you play Nuke than what Cloud9 are used to doing, so they have to fundamentally change their entire style. I don't know if they can do it, Freya, but I'm excited to see what they bring.
Man, a hell of a lot of questions diving into this one. We're going to throw it on over to Vince and Blair to see exactly what goes down on the surprising ground of Nuke.
Thank you very much, Freya. Yeah, this is a head scratcher. Blair, thoughts?
I am as bamboozled as our desk right now. I did not see this coming. A best of 1, and you allow it to go to Nuke, a map that I don't think they've ever played on. And they bring it out in a best of 1 matchup here against FaZe. So I'm excited, I'm worried, I'm a little very confused as to what we're going to be seeing here on Nuke. I wanted to even check if there was a mistake in the graphics there, because that is just unreasonable, I might even want to say.
Yeah, I was having the same thoughts as well. I was looking at the sort of maps that they both like playing. I'm thinking well, maybe it's going to be like a Mirage, maybe it's going to be like a middle-of-the-pack map. Yeah. Never expected Nuke in a million years. Yeah,
from FaZe, I'm kind of happy at the same time because it's a map they, of course, do like to play, but at the same time, maybe a little bit worried because this is definitely 100% a curveball being thrown in here by the boys in blue, Cloud9. I'm still going to take a while to get used to this team playing under the under this banner of Cloud9, but still, this is I'm still trying to gather my thoughts as to what is really happening here. Because Nuke coming in, you have no idea how they like to play. So for FaZe, it's like you literally have no data as to how this team likes to play. You wouldn't even be expecting or even have prepped for this very map here when you're going up against NaVi and his men.
Exactly, and maybe that is the curveball that Cloud9 are trying to throw out, but if that's the case, does that not reek of desperation to you?
I don't know, man, but we've seen some pretty nerdy stuff come out from some of these teams already, right? In the Legend stage yesterday itself, we saw some pretty cool, even during the Challenger stage, we saw some really cool smokes, we saw some flashbangs, we saw some cool executes coming out. The Ence Mirage stage comes to mind, where people are posting about that as well, their sequence of smokes. So we see a lot of cool stuff people have been hiding, people have been prepping on coming out, but a map which they have never played in the history of this particular roster coming out to play here against FaZe in a best of 1 in a 1-1 matchup. Color me surprised, Vince, but I do believe if if you know anything about his Cloud9 lineup, they will be prepared. They have something in store for us here. They will be starting on the CT side. We have an Incendiary getting purchased by NaVi early on. The rest of them, it's going to be one flash for Inters. Apart from that, it is going to be the USPs and armor. And FaZe, a fast play towards the upper bomb side.
Rain getting straight out there, but nafani with 2 brisk headshots. Going to be shutting this down, and it's a third as well. Rop's doing a bit of damage to Karrigan, and now shiro is finishing off the rest. Rop's his last man standing, but for how much longer reasonably can he stand his ground? Good for one thus far. The only good news is that all that bloodshed happens so fast that time is simply not an issue for the young Estonian. He can take his sweet time and hope that maybe Cloud9 makes some errors, some overzealous plays, but he gets caught in the back, and Exile shuts him down. One of the easiest pistol rounds you'll see. You know that meme that people always bring up, like, oh, they're saving strats for the major? This would be the biggest one of those cases if Cloud9 were just hidden OP and nuke this entire time.
That is actually, yeah, and what a start as well. NaVi was not really in a comfortable position, especially with the USP, but then tapping the players away. And we're learning about how Cloud9 plays nuke as the rounds progress. No one has any idea what's in store for us over here. I'm sure all the forums, all the Reddits, all the Twitterati, everyone's going to be so very confused. A fast play coming outside. Nice flashback, but NaVi able to clothesline drops. But the upper bomb side has been rested here. But look at them being so proactive, Vince. They're not allowing the bomb to go down.
Has finally been planted, but it's a great cost to so many lives. This, of course, being a full force. nafani, there's such a monster in the pistol round and is continuing that pace alongside Hobbit. From above, he will strike. And although it is a bomb plant, Cloud9 with a comfortable retake.
All right, Cloud9. All right, color me intrigued. That was a forced buy coming in from FaZe. Sure, they got the bomb down, but I'm envisioning, again, just a few buys, a few pistols coming out here. Not much of a heavy investment. Of course, they will have a... Does Twist have the R8?
Yes.
Well, there's one guy who I'd believe to be able to pull off a kill with the R8. It has to be Twist. Listen, the R8 is a tilter, Vince. Playing a matchmaking game, someone just like R8s you from across the map. I do want to just type and quit my console. So that it could be a psychological weapon.
I wonder how many, any stats guys out there, any analysts out there, how many R8 kills we've had at majors over the duration of it existing. I'm going to assume it's not many.
I'm going to assume it's going to be in the single digits.
Yeah.
Axel, though, having no trouble finding Karrigan. Now, Twist is perched atop the silo. Gonna drop on down, but this one just... Oh, they're so close! They're so close, Twist. It tags him down. And you can see that amount of damage. The revolver deals out Shiro down to 30 HP. But it will be a flawless round for the side of Cloud9. They have thus far suffered just 2 casualties in a 3 rounds. It's been a great start, a great debut for the team over here. For the CIS side in what is pretty much uncharted territory. For FaZe, now this is where I want to see Karrigan, what Karrigan has in store for us. The buy is going to be coming in, of course. AK-47's abound, no AWP yet for Brokey. And there's going to be a ton of utility as well.
First proper test. FaZe now with their full assault rifles already pushing outside and getting up close. A small gap in the smoke, but won't be fully exploited as Shiro doesn't have that orb. But Exile also spraying through, and not that much damage, all things considered. They had 2 players there just to batter down the bullets. And Rain escapes with 66 HP. But a bit of aggression from nafani. Getting into the hut already, using that smoke as a bit of a shroud. Exile, in the meanwhile, spotting 2 players on the cross. Karrigan and Rain are there to try and deal with him, but Exile picking up the kill and can also retreat in turn. But FaZe feel like this is their moment to strike. And strike they shall, but that's into the embracing arms of Inters. And the A1S is going to perforate the first, but Brokey answers straight back. 3 players left standing, and you can now make that just a 1 for Rain, but he can't get anything out of this round. And Cloud9, not only have they picked up the pistol in subsequent rounds, they got the first rifle round as well.
Absolutely. Again, just losing a couple of players there. The M4 will be dropped towards his teammate, and Shiro will be purchasing the AWP early on. I love the the aggression from Axel. They were so very low in health, getting the flank through Squeaky, wrapping around from Hut, preventing Brokey from getting anything more done. FaZe back to just the pistols once more, and Cloud9 Thus far, a solid start here on what everyone just tuning in right now, probably very confused as to why Nuke is the map being played over here, but a great entry from Rain with a Tech-9 running and gunning, finds Inters, but a quick trade from Napany, and he's going to try and shut this down by his lonesome, finds 2, but will eventually get taken down.
Downhill drop and 2 rifles have now been picked up. FaZe able to use them against the oncoming CTs. Replenishing the smoke on main, but Karrakin spammed down through the smoke of Exile. And just like that, the bomb has been dropped down. Brokey decides to pick it up and rush down to the B side, but Rops isn't there to help him. However, he could have the drop on Exile. Hobbit needs to stand fast. Rops will drop Exile. This is now a winnable round on the side of FaZe. Not only are they in a post plant, but both of their remaining players have rifles, have Kevlar, and are healthy. And Hobbit's too late with that HE. Brokey's already pieced out of there. And good post plant positions being assumed by both of the Ts. Hobbit and Shiro have their work cut out for them. They've got a bit of utility, though. Shiro with an incendiary and a couple of flashbangs, but now Rob's going to make moves. Can see the barrel of the gun around the silo, but can't finish him off. But Hobbit has gone down anyway. And now Shiro can't do much with the bomb so low to detonation. This round is going to go the way of FaZe. The pistols yielding so much in return.
Such a FaZe round to win as well. Just the pistols get their opening over there. Great call to head on straight on down. Karrakin, Robs, Brokey, and Rain chipping in with a frag apiece. Robs, in fact, finishing it off and getting a 2K over there. And Cloud9 finally, they lose the very first round here. Perhaps the very first round ever to be lost on the map of Nuke. But because of how solid the earlier rounds were, great lurk from Robs there. The moment he saw the C4 down, I think Hobbit called it out. You can see the player just running on into its secret. Rob's able to take him down. And when you have someone like Rob's alive in a clutch scenario like that, you know it is going to be favoring FaZe. Buy will still be coming in for Cloud9. Pretty solid buy overall. Shiro still with the AWP as well. M4's abound for the rest of them. And they're going to switch things up here. Holy Molotov being deployed towards the back of the bomb site. Nafny's blinded, but he doesn't have to be worried. He's got Inters on top of the HUD to ensure that no one's going to be pushing on out. So the captain will be fine for the time being. We have presence towards Secret as well. 2 players, in fact, Vince. That is interesting. Axel and Hobbit. The drop down towards Mini. The wraparound comes in, but Inters, he's good for 1.
Farney off angle as well. This allows Inters to focus on the squeaky door. Beautifully done. Will get traded out, but the damage should have already been inflicted, and now Inters can go from strength to strength, but Karrakin is there to catch him as he falls from the top of Hut. Only 2 players remain on FaZe, but they were able to pull off a 2v3 in the previous round under very different circumstances. And with a smoke on main, Hobbit may feel compelled to push that smoke, and push he shall, potentially all the way to victory. But Karrakin stands between them and that fate. Shiro up in heaven. The angle is difficult for Karrakin to attain, and he gets caught. Exile pushing into main, gets him unawares, and Cloud9 move to a dominant 5-1 lead.
That was almost pretty perfection with Karrakin. He tosses in the Molotov, and if he had his gun out, he could have got the player trapped inside of Mini, but that was a perfect time for Shiro to peek out. So that was almost unwinnable there for Karrakin. Nice attempt, however, but that was all Inters, man. Being so very lethal on top of HUD. And Hobbit as well, finding the perfect timing to push in through the smoke. Ensuring the man advantage doesn't spiral out of control. For FaZe, they will be able to eke out a pretty solid buy, all things considered. We have Karrakin taking 1 for the team, Galil in hands, just so we can afford a smoke and a couple of flashbangs. Rops with just the AK-47. The rest of them a decent chunk of utility as well. You see the smoke's getting deployed. A deep molly for a secret, gonna allow Rain a little bit of time to work with as he does look to try and get some map control here towards outside. For the Cloud9 setup right now, they just have 2 players towards the ramp position. You have Hobbit, who's now going to be dropping towards the lower part of the bomb, towards the lower bomb site. Shiro playing towards Hell with the AWP, and Axel stuck into the corner of Garage. They're not making any sound here, so he's just making sure no one pushes in towards Mini, but Secret is open for business for FaZe. So they can creep on down to towards the lower bomb site. They can have a lot of space to work with, and that is a huge find by Robs. Inters will be plucked. Remaining members, though, debating, do they go for the ramp area? Because there is a smoke right now still keeping them at bay right outside a trophy room, but they have so much room to work with and a man advantage as well.
40 seconds, though, on the clock. So for all the advantages that they may possess, time itself could be their undoing. And I think they're starting to realize that as they push into ramp. Now Shiro is here, Flash is good, forces him off the angle. Axile's position already compromised in Garage, but a lot of this comes down to Shiro. How many kills, if any, can he get? Oh, and he misses his chance. He's not fully punished for it, though. 15 seconds now. Shiro's missed 2 shots, and that will cost him and surely Cloud9 dearly as Twists goes in for a second. And with 8 seconds to play with, Nafani goes in for the post plant, but unfortunately, it's too little too late, and FaZe double up their score tally.
That looked a little hairy for FaZe. But when it comes to these crunch situations, 15 seconds on the clock, the kills goes their way. And finally, a couple of whiff shots from Shiro, and I won't lie, I was not necessarily a big fan of him coming up ramp. There was all by his lonesome, especially with the AWP. It comes down to the timing, and even if he finds a kill, there's a real possibility he gets traded. In fact, he couldn't find anything. Forced by now for Cloud9, and Roki, looking to challenge even further. He's hunting him down. Axel, very lucky to stay alive. Just an MP9, a couple of pistols, a 5.7, a CZ in the hands of Axel and Shiro respectively, and a solitary FAMAS in the hands of Hobbit. And this is something that Maui touched upon. He wants to see them being proactive. He doesn't want to see them just playing, the passive textbook Counter-Strike, so to speak. Because if you do that, that is something that FaZe will be able to abuse. And that is something that NIP did as well in the latter stages of the Inferno game yesterday. So let's see what does transpire over here. Hobbit with a bit of an off angle. This might not be expecting this, and indeed he doesn't. Axel simultaneously finds Carrigan. The bomb is dropped at his feet, and he's even got a smoke to try and delay the T's from pushing in. Time is still the friend for FaZe. Bomb picked up, walking in through the smoke, and it's all on Raid in a 1 versus 4.
2 of them is half the tally of Cloud9 players, but keep in mind that this was pistols and a force buy. This was a golden opportunity for FaZe to get straight back into this one. And now, on a 1 HP, Rain has to somehow turn this back around in FaZe's favor. 35 seconds left, and he's on the wrong side of this smoke. Cloud9 can reposition both of their players' full hit points. Now, even if Rain can pick up the bomb, and that's no guarantee, time working against him forces him into an awkward position here, and there's Inters on the drive-by. 6-2, they win their force buy with CZ's 5.7s.
A little bit of mistake there from FaZe. Sure, you lose a couple of players. With the bomb getting dropped, they panicked a little bit, pushing in through the smoke, thinking the CD smoke actually was obscuring vision and the bomb wouldn't be seen. But instead, he walks in. I think it was Robs walking straight through into Mini and getting his head plucked clean off his shoulders. And Rain, in the end, that was, well, he does get a 2K. It was a 1v3, but it was not to be in Cloud9. Back to winning ways. For FaZe, though, they still have the money for the buy. Oh, bullets whiz past his ear. Slowly going to peel back at much more faster pace being set by FaZe over here. Not too much of a gap in the smoke as well. And because Cloud9 are allowing them a lot of control of Secret, they're going to be grouping up together. Axel, though, he's going to hold the line. He's got his teammate nearby on the vents, ladder position to drop on down if needs be, but he's got to make contact.
That's one. They can win 1 by 1, and it was looking good for the double up there from Axel. Unfortunate not to get more damage done. Brokey survives on 48, just about. And Hobbit now, unsure as to where these remaining Ts are. They're already pushing down on the vent side. Damage inflicted to Carrigan, and it is significant, and Rops' patience pays out in spades. A 3v frag onto Nafani, but now Inters from the top is going to strike for 1. It's back and forth, but it will be favoring FaZe, especially considering a post-plant now comes to fruition. Carrigan can just stay on his 8 HP and look to try and flank in late. Onto the heaven side, the spray's good for 1, and he's nullifying as many of these weapons as possible. Because the last round was so close in a force buy, Cloud9 have very little in terms of surplus cash.
FaZe will get the third, and it just for Cloud9, I'm like, look, I'm sure everyone is right now gobsmacked the fact that Nuke is being played, but this is where someone like Carrigan can thrive, right? Well, one thing we speak about Carrigan, and let's go back to IM Katowice. Let's go back to them playing with a stand-in multiple times. JK is coming in. 2 players getting COVID almost simultaneously. We had Rob sitting it out. We had Rain playing from the from his hotel room. And one thing Carrigan is fantastic on is calling on the fly, making it up as it goes, trying to adapt as it's thrown at him. And this is going to be a real test for Carrigan. Obviously, Cloud9 have done the prep work. You know, they're like, all right, this is going to be the curveball that's going to catch FaZe off guard. And for Karrigan, it's literally just fighting in the dark right now. He doesn't know what the setups are. He doesn't know what the protocols necessarily are for Cloud9 because there's no data to work with. And yet, despite that, despite the fact that Cloud9 were off to a great start initially, FaZe able to somehow find a couple of early chinks in the defense here. 6-3, still very early days here. Listen, for Cloud9, this is either mad genius or sheer madness. Like, that's the only way I can describe this. Like, how... Especially in a matchup where it's so even Stevens, you're a top 3 team in the world, and in fact they're allowing Nuke out in the best of 1 in a 1-1, like, when both the teams are in a 1-1 situation, the Legend stage, it is almost insanity. forSpy going to be coming in here for Cloud9. They still have an AK-47 in the hands of Shiro, safe from the previous round. 5.7s and a CZ as well. And bear in mind, they didn't get around just with a light bite, but the pacing from Robster, catching Axel, just running out. They're so fast, a very aggressive, fast look coming in, and they head in towards the ramp position. Shiro lies in wait, the AK will strike.
Very important kill, but Karrigan's already sneaking outside. He's getting around the back of the CTs while they're all focused down on the trophy room. This is where Karrigan can have so much impact, and Brokey has them locked in the other side. There's nowhere for them to go. The only downside is Intis maybe can get the drop, but he switches. A panic as he jumps into the air, but Karrigan decides not to go via ramp. Instead, he goes through heaven, but that's only as good as how long they can hold this bomb for. Karrigan's position now is entirely useless. The bomb was spilled in lobby, and Karrigan now has to do the long con all the way around the ramp side. And surely one of Cloud9 realized this is a distinct possibility.
It's all about the timing, Vince.
And now Karrigan may get the first player, but he can't get that mantle. Intis pivots round, takes his head clean off. But you could see what they were going for. There were so many cool little moving parts. But the second that bomb gets dropped in lobby, Karrigan's flank is entirely worthless.
But that is something that Cloud9 needed to do, right? There was obviously the avenue for Karrigan to wrap around all the way from outside towards hell and then make his way towards heavens and head back towards ramp because of the aggression that they were showing. It wasn't really a lobby crunch per se. It was more about a heavy lobby and, stack alongside a little bit of a ramp aggression coming out. And the moment the dominoes started to fall, the trades were very, very solid indeed from Cloud9. And Karrigan, the look was great. But if he had, again, could have, would have, so obviously he couldn't see what we could. He was trying to get the lure part towards upper and gonna be the hit to go in for the A bomb site. But then that's the moment that I do believe is Brokey. Scroll jump, man.
Yeah.
Scroll jump. He jumps in midair. Spacebar gang stays winning. 7-3 here. Cloud9 winning 2 rounds where they only had just pistols and maybe 1 rifle. And FaZe are going to be kicking themselves for that. forSpy going to be coming in, nonetheless, for Karrigan and his merry men. Early incendiary is going to be deployed, and here comes the hit.
It's going to be fast, it's going to be rapid, and it's going to be rampant as well, unless they can get their hands on some kills. And Cloud9 are dwindling. Their numbers thinning out, and it's Rain in the ascendancy, having impact in this game on 8 frags already. Big entry frags into this round 11. And just like that, Cloud9 are forced on the opposite side of this smoke wall. Maybe potentially going to get flanked in from Rops again, who's had so much fast rotational plays, whether it be vent diving, whether it be outside. Shiro's going to get caught as well, and this has been a complete and utter disaster for Cloud9. They had the weapons. It was FaZe in an awkward position with Deagles and Tech-9s, and yet Hobbit's the only player that has struck with any kind of success, and he is living on borrowed time. FaZe get their 4th.
What a flashbang from Brokey. The 2 defenders, they were just blinded for days. First, he used the first phase of utility was incendiaries to force the CTs out from top of the HUD position, out in the open, and immediately followed by a perfectly placed flashbang from Brokey, enabling the entries of FaZe to just pop the heads. And just like that, these are just forced by walls, Vince. Cloud9 going to be going for the full commit again. 5.7 MP9 CZs. This time not even a solitary rifle. Early barrage utility towards Mini, towards the main position, but it is going to be fast played towards ramp, and Shiro able to find 1. That's all he'll get. Brokey, however, did get dinged down. Axel with his MP9 from his position, Vince. This could be deadly.
It could, but they're sending Rain in first. He had so much impact in that previous round. Another player with a CZ at range is Hobbit. As you highlighted, this SMG is tailor-made for these kinds of angles, and if FaZe trip over one another, this could get dicey. But Axile tries to take the initiative, runs into the gauntlet, and he is sliced up and chewed spat right out. Rop's big frags in the meanwhile in lobby, and this force buy from Cloud9 will not be yielding anything in return. Post-plant will be here. I don't think Hobbit's going to have any chance at stopping this.
FaZe can finally breathe a bit of a sigh of relief now. They've finally broken the economy for Cloud9. The great force buy wars and nuke will come to an end. Cloud9 will be going for pretty much a full save. Might see a couple of pistols, but that's about it. And FaZe, that's a great opportunity to get to 6 rounds, maybe even potentially tie things up. Cloud9, again, remember, they had a fantastic start on this CD side. Looking very solid initially, but FaZe, some great calling, great variations in how they're approaching it, and making sure they dot all their I's and cross all the T's. Hobbit had not a chance in hell there. Great bait as well, the player in front of him just tapping him with a couple of bullets, and then he gets executed on the base of his skull. Look at the money. About an average of $1,900. That's a loss bonus kicking in. And for Cloud9, it is going to be, I'd envision just the full USPs coming out here. For FaZe, though, have all the rifles, all the weaponry to work with. And you can see the money's pretty solid as well as we do enter the dying embers of the first half. Rob's looking to take the lead. A full stack coming in towards outside. I've seen this a couple of times, but that means Rob's is going to be walking out just dry, and they know the A-bomb side is open for business. It should be round number 6. This should be an easy round.
Yeah, they're going to have a very good read of the situation here, FaZe, so they're going to know it's going to be some kind of cheesy, potentially gimmicky stack with USPs, and the rest should fall into place. A bit of damage done to Brokey, down to 6 HP, and the rest is a formality as Rain taps himself into a 4K, and FaZe have even the odds. We're 7-6 now in terms of score. Is it fair to say, though, Blair, with a team like Cloud9, that we don't know a great deal? By the way, as a side point, Stream B, their game just finished. Furia won 16-10 against Big. Maybe more of an expected result, considering Furia lost their last game.
I did think I heard Maui scream of agony. Big losing a game there, but yeah, good showing coming out from Furia, because Big have looked very, very dangerous indeed, but looks like it's been kind of like one-sided games thus far in the secondary stream. But yeah, I mean, we had a banger of a game earlier between Heroic and G2, and now we're having a bit of a head-scratcher of a game. Nuke. Cloud9 allowing it through. Here comes FaZe. Utility at hand. And that means, I do believe his Inter's playing on top of the hut. He's going to be playing a game of hot potatoes right now.
Inter's up on the hut again. He's had so many impactful frags, but Axile's gone down, and now Nafani has as well, and all of the defenders on A have been ripped apart. That site is as clean as you could ask for. And Cloud9 beginning to show some errors, beginning to show some cracks beneath the surface on their defense.
And if we go back to almost all the rounds FaZe have won thus far, it's been like so many different variations, right? And that's the thing for Cloud9. Even though you might have something in store for us, some cool setups and whatnot, you don't have enough of actual practice. And I'm not talking just scrims. You might have some secret scrim partners and whatnot. You might be dry running stuff in an empty server. But if you don't have that actual experience under your belt when it comes to a map you've never played, it's going to be hard to just adapt on that, especially against someone as experienced as Carrigan. You can see why FaZe, despite a bit of a rough start initially, despite losing 2 rounds against just the pistols, the rounds are winning are looking very, very convincing. There were 3 CTs on the upper bomb side. They got absolutely domed on. Inters even using a smoke on top of the hut to kind of neutralize the incendiaries, but FaZe, just great protocols, knowing exactly which angles to hold. Even a CT at the back of the bomb side. FaZe are using the smokes against Cloud9. Able to somehow dissect that defense, and his upper bomb side, it just getting, the holes getting poked in. Another fast play coming out, perhaps? No, just a little bit of early barrage utility. CTs though, they've opted to keep 3 players, and we have one player that is Axel being very aggressive, but Rain, he seems to be aware of it.
Yeah, he's the outside contingent, and he will be getting the frag. Actually, it's Twists.
Okay.
Twists from downtown on T-Spawn. Axel walks into 2 players, and he gets tag-teamed out of the last round of the half. My concern for Cloud9 is if they have got a little bit of less experience when it comes to nuke, surely it's the T side where we're going to see a little bit more in terms of errors and problems. So on the CT side, potentially trailing going into that second half, unless Hobbit can have more impact with the MP9, but it's a one and done. This game started exceptionally well for Cloud9. If you just joined us, they won the pistol. I think they were 4 or 5-0 up.
Yep.
And now FaZe have just shifted through the gears. Now maybe Brokey could be bested from the hut, but again, Inters is going to fall by the wayside, and Brokey doubles up. FaZe will lead going through into the second half.
Yeah, FaZe looking so much better than initially here. They seem to figure it out. You could see some of the some really cool executes coming out as well onto the upper bomb side. Different variations as well. And despite Cloud9 attempting to adapt, Karrigan just a step ahead of them, right? If you look at, I think it was around 12, 13, 14. I'd love to just go back and just rewatch a demo and just see how clean some of those takes were from FaZe. And Cloud9 left a little bit floundering in the latter stages of the first half, Vince. And even the rounds they won, again, just reminding everyone that those were some feisty rounds with the pistols, with the 4 spies being won. When it comes to just buy versus buy rounds, full buy versus full buy rounds, FaZe have come out on top 7 times out of 10. But here we go. Cloud9. If they do have something in store for us here, this is where I want to see it on the T side of Nuke.
Smoke and flash, but it's all about outside control, and they're trying to do their best to get that as fast as possible. They rush down into secret, there's no smokes or flashes to precede that peak, and they're looking for engagements at range of the P250 in the hands of Shiro. We saw yesterday just how good he is with that gun, but it's nafani that picks up the first in the round. Hobbit should be a freebie, but Brokey misses out on that opportunity, and that will open up business down on the vent side as well. So Cloud9 also looking for that shank. Rops needs to tread very carefully, otherwise Hobbit will have him.
They haven't still got control of the bomb site though, Vince. It's still taking the sweet time. They're still going to allow a couple of members here to creep on down, and Karrigan in perfect position to shut this one down.
Bomb's been dropped down on the side again, and it's Shiro twist though. Oh, twists! Those are some slick headshots, and the bomb now is no longer under control. This round is up for debate. It was looking like Cloud9 had this. It was a 3v5, and now Rops has already done significant damage to Hobbit as he limps across with 6 HP. They still need to retrieve the bomb here though, Blair.
Such an uncomfortable position. Hobbit making his way up, and Rops, he had the read. And now, a dangerous game of chess between Rops and Hobbit. They just let go of the bomb, by the way. They're just like, screw it. We're just gonna try and battle it out together. Not be predictable. Hobbit walks straight into Rops' crosshair, and all of a sudden, how the tables have turned, Vince. It's all that enters in a 1v2.
Couple of bullets go astray. He's still in with a chance, trying to flick to their heads as Rops comes out and will seal the deal. A 3v5, but Twists take a bow. That second shot in particular was disgusting downstairs on B.
The magnificent Van Dalkin. Look at his shot. Oh my, just some clean stuff. This one, that is just pure filth. And then Rops. He just comes in. He just reads it so well. He knows what Hobbit might get up to. He didn't even commit to that fight at the bottom of the bombs, just next to the vents. In the vents room, instead, he fades away, heads on back up, and enters left in an unwinnable situation. The 1v2, time running out, getting pincered from both sides. Rops and Twists, 9-7. It looked like Cloud9, they actually had that round, Vince. They got all the crucial openings. As you pointed out earlier, Hobbit able to survive the player from on top of Hut, but especially when you have Rops and Twists alive, you can never, ever count out FaZe. Bomb not getting planted means none of that bonus money, meaning it's just going to be a P250. A couple of P250s being purchased by NaVi and Shiro. Apart from that, it's Glocks all around for FaZe. The 2 M4s come out in the hands of Rops and Twists, of course afforded by the kill bonuses they got from the prior round. And the SMGs, this should be Farm City money in the bank for FaZe.
Yes, the accountant sat there with a big grin on their face, looking at the prospects.
Oh my.
Oh, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's shooting down with the SMGs. That's money in the bank for Brokey, but actually he only gets 1. And a little bit of a scrappy engagement as nafani comes through with his P250. You know, 2 kills, all things considered. I think Cloud9 will take that pretty happily. It could have gone a lot worse. But now we're going to have the rifles. And now, I echo your sentiment, Blair. I want to see what Cloud9 have in store on this T side.
That's a real question mark. Listen, everyone watching this game is just been waiting for this T side to see what they have in store for us here. It was such a huge gamble to allow Nuke through. And if you don't have the right protocols, if you don't have... But that's the thing, even if you had the prep book on this map, this is a map that FaZe, they'd be more than happy to play against some of the best teams in the world. So it's not just about prep work, it's about how well drilled you are when it comes to the map. And Nuke is not an easy map. Now, Rain hasn't seen any of the players cross on over, but knowing that there is a bit of a hole there, Brokey using his nade early on to just blow apart one of the squeaky double doors.
That is surely going to catch them off guard, though. Because there was no smoke wall outside. The player that was watching did not spot either player through. This could completely lull FaZe into a false sense of security.
But this is the play here from FaZe. They have no information right now. Karrigan going to be pushing at Hut a little bit. They might aggress in to try and find some information. But even if they do, the fact that two players are already downstairs and there's no one in the lower bomb site, literally no one, but the timing is perfection. That is brilliant from Karrigan. Having no information, they feel very uncomfortable. They flash on in and Karrigan, it finds a kill. They still don't have any control the lower bomb site, mind you, but at least they have the man advantage, and Robs can shut this one down all by his lonesome.
Oh, they bait them in, and Robs will finish off what Brokey started.
That's the bomb.
And that's the bomb drop down, but now Hobbit's position comes to the forefront. He should be getting the drop. They have no idea his current location, and now they've realized, and it's going to cost Robs his life. 2-on-3.
Time.
Time is also an enemy of Cloud9. Keep in mind, this was a bonus round on a couple of players. They had MP9s. They did not have their full assortment of weaponry. With 15 seconds to go, beautiful frag from Hobbit, but he has to just rush straight towards the site. He does have a linchpin player,
10
but
seconds.
Twists is everything right now on FaZe. Just has to drop the bomb, and this round is done. FaZe will pick up an 11th, and Cloud9's first rifle round will yield very little in return.
Oh, doesn't even have any weapons remaining. None of the weapons getting saved there for Cloud9. That was a play from FaZe. They had no eyes towards outside. Vince, you were absolutely correct there. They had no information, but then they were also cognizant of the fact that, okay, they have control of the secret. We have no information. We have no eyes as to where the other Ts are. And for the side of Cloud9, it was a C4 getting dropped. The bait play, Robs from above, delivering death. 11-7 now for FaZe, a lead by 4. It's going to be just the pistols here for the side of Cloud9. A few Deagles in hand, a Tech 9 for Axel. And I do see just a one smoke for NaVi. And he is towards outside. He could maybe potentially use that to cross on, to go for a lobby crunch perhaps, but there's so many angles being held here by FaZe. You have Brokey towards Secret. You have, I do believe, that is Rain as well with an A1 trained in. So the smoke might obscure vision for one of the players, but not for both of them. They're going to rely on hitting some nasty shots. And individually speaking, FaZe, they have looked clean. Brokey decapitates Inters. Now, this is going to be almost impossible, Vince. Like, I don't see this happening.
No, and every passing second, it seems that there are more and more casualties. Oh. Maybe Hobbit point blank, but Brokey no-scopes him out of his boots and then goes one better onto Shiro. Axel and a Tech 9 are very slim pickings for Ops, who was on the flank, and 12-7 the scoreline. Cloud9 is still yet to get off the mark on their T-half.
Yeah, clean stuff coming in from FaZe. And this is 9 in a row together for Karrigan and his men. Tackle time of the second of this game getting called by Cloud9 as they need to talk things through, and they really need to. FaZe are running away with this one. If you look at the way the rounds are played out, Cloud9, I think it was like a 5-1, 6-2 scoreline initially. It was looking good, but ever since then, it's been FaZe all the way. They have been looking very, very solid. And I gotta say, I've been impressed, especially on the first half from Karrigan. Even though he didn't have any material to work with as to how Cloud9 have their setups, he was able to get the read on the fly, able to figure out how they like playing, who's playing where, what they like to do, and just able to abuse especially that upper bomb side time and time again, yielding a number of rounds. And on the CD side, they don't. This is much more easier. This is more like, hey, we know what we want to do, we know exactly how our setups have to be, and just stick to it. And thus far, it has been flawless. For Cloud9, I again have to echo our desk. If you're going to be playing the slow and passive, going to be playing by the textbook, you are going to get massacred. You are going to get abused by each and every one of the FaZe members as Brokey finds a nasty little flick on the Shiro.
Oh, it's so outrageous. Cloud9 finally get their hands on an AWP. You know, it's like, here we go, Shiro. You're one of our star players. And you're dead. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, good night. Whoo-wee, all right.
Another one. Brokey's now repositioned into ramp. It's more of the same, catching them off guard. As he pushes into the T-spawn and FaZe, they're making this just look very, very easy. This is shooting fish in a barrel at this point, and FaZe are unrelenting. They are ruthless.
This is the dominance play, the alpha play coming out from FaZe. They're just taking... This is a buy round, mind you, from Cloud9. And they have been slaughtered, absolutely dumpstered in round number 20. Axel at least able to win, to bring one back, but the moment they know where he is, you can see how aggressive everyone's being. Brokey, even with the AWP, just pushing on in, and they're just wrapping around Rops with a couple of little taps at the back of the nape of his head, of his neck rather. We'll finish it off. Clean round coming out from FaZe.
I don't want to be that guy, Blair, but you let Nuke through for this?
Yeah.
You let Nuke against FaZe for this T-side?
We literally haven't seen anything yet from Cloud9, and it hurts to say. As you said, it was either a massive blunder letting in Nuke or mad genius. And right now, I'm going with the former. It has been a little flat here. Tapping away is Rain, crosser placement perfect, but of course the wall will not allow the bullets to penetrate for the time being. You can see the smoke's getting deployed here though, from Cloud9, so at least, you know, the wall smokes, but Rain doesn't respect any of that. He doesn't respect anyone right now. 2 kills again, Rain and Brokey, the 1-2 opening combo, and Brokey maybe getting a little too ahead of himself, getting really hyper-aggressive, getting caught off guard by Axel, but Rops is there, the contingency plan to take him down. 4 versus 2. FaZe are on fire, they're on a streak, and they're looking untouchable.
Seems untenable that Cloud9 can get back into this round, or perhaps even the map. Nafani from Silo will make short work of Rain, but it's all at the cost of 4 players, and Karrigan is going to chip in and get FaZe to a 14-7 lead. This has been domination, and as you can see on your scoreboard, not only is it 6 rounds in a row on this CT side, but there was 5 preceding that to end off the first half. And also, keep in mind, Blair, there hasn't been a single bomb plant in any of these rounds either. It's not just been them winning. They've been stopping Cloud9 from even getting close.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's been just dominant. And this curveball from Cloud9 has just gone travel all around the world, orbited the Earth, and come back and smack them on the back of the head. It's not worked out at all. And for FaZe, they have looked as fluid as that little cinematic switch. I love the cams from PGL.
It's the only finesse that we've seen on this half for Cloud9 when they stood at spawn. And now with 3 Galils and Shiro with an AWP again. I want to see something, Blair. Like, please don't let this just be a blowout 16-7.
Yeah. And I guarantee you, any other map, this would have been a so much more contested affair. It could even be Cloud9 having a similar lead as to what FaZe have right now. But on Nuke, it was a question mark. And the answer, unfortunately, is that FaZe are just better right now on Nuke. As I say, they're actually able to find Brokey with the wallbang. That's nice. Getting tapped on by Shiro. Twist replies back, though, and Nafani. Oh, it's a battle between Rain and Nafani, and Rain comes out on top. He's been tagged on to 41 HP, but still able to get back the man advantage. Never mind, Karrigan is a lunatic. Runs on in, catches Shiro all by his lonesome. And this is what FaZe love to do. This is what FaZe will do at you. They are just going to keep aggressing, going to be in your face, disrespecting you. And they're going to make you not just like feel like you're losing, but make it feel even more painful. Just twist the knife in. Axel, what's he going to do? Well, a 1v4, now to a 1v2. This is suddenly, all of a sudden, doable. Rain, bear in mind, is on 20 HP. The only thing going against Axel right now is the fact that the bomb is far, far away out in the open, but he does have time.
Exactly, just shy of 50 seconds, but that bomb position is the biggest obstacle to him clutching this round. Rain knows it additionally, as does Rops. They're both positioned accordingly. And Axel's just checking all of his angles. Rops is coming all the way around the back now. Even if Axel's able to best Rain, and pick up the bomb. Robs is in such a good position to try and thwart either of these bomb sites. And Axel has taken the head of Rain, picks up the bomb, has to rush straight towards the site, and Robs should know this. Robs is in good position for the cross. Axel's going to be coming down though and decides to vent dive. Throws in the curveball. And he's going to have enough time as well. The Molotov buys him up enough time and Robs runs through the volley to his death. Robs, are you okay?
What is this clutch? That was a 1 versus 4. Axel, I mean, I don't even think he thought he'd win in that fashion. Robs just running down, desperately trying to prevent the plan from taking place. And the flames, they burn him alive. Oh my. That is perhaps the only blunder we've seen from FaZe on the second half. But what a way for Cloud9 to win a round, Vince. A 1 versus 4. With the bomb dropped in no man's land. And just maybe a little bit of a reminder to FaZe. Just a little bit of a reminder. You can't be that disrespectful to the individuals here on the Cloud9 side. Axel finds Broken in the meantime, but Rain immediately replies back by getting rid of Shiro.
Big damage as well to nafani outside the red container. He got dinked by Rain. Down to 10. He will plummet. And yeah, that was a clutch that just seemed to come out of nowhere. And not just the whole Robs play where he gets burned alive. I think it was some mismanagement on FaZe's positions as well. Could have been better crossfires established, but that's all in the past. In the here and now, FaZe still have the 6-round advantage, and King Karrigan shuts down main. 2 massive headshots, and he will lock down this angle and potentially take this map with it. Karrigan going from strength to strength as FaZe are mounting up a serious lead. And nafani, with the aforementioned 10 HP, can do little but maybe pick up the bomb. I wonder if there's a part of him that even thinks of saving this up because he's so low and because the finances of Cloud9 are straight up in the trash right now.
7 map points for FaZe. And listen, the second half, it's not even in a competition. Look at the second half. I think the round, it was 6-3 the score line for Cloud9 in the first half. After that, it's been FaZe all the way. They have literally won almost every round since then, and it has just been FaZe dominating. Apart from that 1 versus 4 from Axel, where, well, FaZe did stumble quite a bit, but apart from that, it has been absolute domination. And it's not just about like one player popping off, right? Sure, Brokey and Rain have been a thorn in that outer yard area, but everyone Twist having his moments. We saw in the pistol round, Karrigan as well, being so very aggressive, catching Cloud9 off guard, and that face pretty much summarizes how Cloud9 are feeling right now, because they are just completely lost and bamboozled. I still want to know what the thought process was for Cloud9 getting nuked through, right? Like, obviously it's a big surprise. We've seen this happen in the past. Heck, Karrigan used to do that with Mousesports as well. He used to flex a couple of maps randomly out of nowhere and have that 7-map pool earlier on when he was playing with Robs in Mousesports, but you don't bring it out in a situation like this. You don't bring it out in a scenario like this. And especially nuke. It's so much harder. If things start spiraling out of control, sometimes you can be just left scratching your head wondering how you're going to bring this one back, and how they're going to bring this one back is the question in everyone's minds. Cloud9, sure, they at least have the loss bonus to eke out a pretty decent buy. I say decent, it's just 1 AK, 2 Galils, Macton for Axel, and the op saved AWP for Shiro. They need to make something happen here. 7 in a row is what they need, and it's going to be a fast vent dive coming in from Axel.
Minimal damage done to Axel in the process with the Mac-10. But already they have an AWP downstairs watching the decon doorway. They know this is a possibility. Hobbit dropping down into main as well. They're looking to try and divide and really throw some chaos in against FaZe. And so far they've not lost any players. So decent forward positions taken.
They haven't heard him. There are 3 players around him and no one has any clue. Hobbit, probably paranoid. He must have envisioned someone's heard him and someone's going to be hunting for him. Robs are reading Shiro perfectly like a book. And never mind. Hobbit, he got the lurk, but Chris is there.
Karrigan locking down on the squeaky, and nafani and Axel, last 2 players to go. It's all on nafani, and although he is going to step tall, he takes a headshot as well. The game is not over just yet. He is still alive in this one, but only for a few more seconds. And that's going to do it for our second best of one of the day, and it ends in a little bit of a A disappointing result, I think it's safe to say. Cloud9 floating the nuke pick, get completely bodied by FaZe, who made that look pretty straightforward.
Yeah, FaZe must have been pretty damn confused when they saw the video coming in, when they saw the nuke being played, but whatever doubts they might have, they just swept it very swiftly aside, right? A very, very dominant showing coming out from FaZe. And honestly, Vince, I'm still bamboozled. This nuke pick, I thought maybe you might see something coming up, but the T side from Cloud9 was basically virtually non-existent. And that's usually what happens. It's a map that you've never played ever before any officials, and you're going up against a team like Karrigan's, who have played it quite a bit. You can see a couple of words being exchanged. Nothing, obviously, bad, of course. There's smiles and nods all around. Cloud9, no, they got absolutely dismantled on that map, but I'm actually waiting to see what the analyst has in store for us, because I have so many questions right now.
As do I. So, Desk, by all means, try and break down that madness for us.
I'm not even sure where to start, gentlemen. It definitely has been the biggest surprise in the vetoes thus far at the Major, and that risky pick for Cloud9 didn't, unfortunately, pay off for them. Maybe we can just use this as a learning experience for what they should bring into the pool going forward?
I feel robbed. I feel robbed of a great game of Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
So part of me is even a little bit salty right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I had great expectations for that game. I feel like the storylines were building so beautifully. And then there is this very confusing decision to actually allow nuke. And it turned out to be a mismatch. It literally took Robs going through a Molotov for them to find a round on the T side. It's literally what it took. So I don't really know where to go with this.
An Axile ace only bright spot of the entire T side there for Cloud9. This was horrendous. This is one of the worst decisions I've seen in a veto in Major history.
Yeah, Vitality picked Overpass.
This was really bad. Yeah, and Vitality did pick Overpass
Even
before.
worse than that, Maniac. Even worse.
No.
To gamble into nuke when you have never played it in an official as a leader, Karrigan is living rent-free in Nafany's head. For him to do this is a moment of desperation. I can't believe what we just saw. They averaged two or less kills for the entire T side. That's horrible. Those were not good strategies. There was nothing strong that was prepared for them right there. I despise that T side from Cloud9. That was awful. If they think they need to win with veto tricks like that to make it through this Major, I'm counting them out. I've had them as one of my picks going into this for a team that should be a dark horse, one of the ones that could win it all. I have no faith anymore. That veto was just terrible. I can't live with it.
And it's the moment they choose to do it as well.
Yeah.
The fact that it's a 1-1 match, now they're 1-2, and we know that pool of teams down in those 1-2 matchups, that's literally their last lifeline.
And it's the quality of the game you put forth then. I mean, you want to take that gamble, you want to take that route, but then you have practiced and you have so many new and I guess new age nuke protocols to come through. Then why not? Then why not? But then you have to walk the walk after you talk the talk. You have to give us better than that. Even on the CT side, look, they win the pistol round, they win the first gun round, and then we have stars in our eyes, like thinking, oh my god, they're actually making it. But actually, you can see, as soon as FaZe have the money, they outplay them. They didn't know how to handle these executes coming in from Karrigan. I mean, this is all we needed. This is all we needed to choose which path we were on as we were talking in the veto.
Yeah, the first 5 rounds for Cloud9 had us hopeful. I'll say that. But winning the pistol on nuke, you will string a couple more together. I thought the rotations on some of the CT rounds, when it was getting a little bit more complex, were okay in the beginning. But then Karrigan just simplified the playbook. I think we have the A execs ready to go here in a replay. I think round 14, I mean, that's the second time they do an A exec in the same half, and it doesn't get any better for Cloud9. So this is just such a basic thing you have to know how to counter if you're C9. You need to know where you're standing. You need to know how to respond when those Molotovs come out. There is the counter smoke right there. I will give them that. But there are players in positions that are just completely blinded here on the side of Cloud9. And 3-0 on entries right there, that's pathetic. You can't win a game of nuke if that's your A defense against a basic exec.
Yeah, that's a dream scenario for FaZe. We could see the path that the first entry frag took was absolutely unaccounted for. He went from that HUD position to then around the side, got an easy kill, player on top of HUD, probably either not communicating or not doing it correctly to let his teammate know there was an issue behind it. And these are the kind of details we put forward when we say you want to play nuke? You think you can play nuke? I'm sure they've played it in FPL. I'm sure they played it in FaZe, matchmaking, whatever the hell. Sure.
Maybe some scrims?
Maybe they scrimmed it, but there is a difference when shit hit the fan and you actually have to know how to react, and then we haven't seen that.
And that's the extra surprising thing, particularly from a team like Cloud9 as well, coming into this and just feeling like there were really no surprise tricks up their sleeve. I think that was what we were looking at, potentially going, you know what, maybe they've been practicing this for several months. Maybe there's some hopeful strategies coming into it. It just felt flat.
I was hoping for something special there.
That's what we were doing.
I was really hoping that they had some new way to maybe play the map, because it felt like their style going into this would never work on a map like Nuke, where so many teams just throw those A execs and just condition teams with the wall of smokes. It's not really how Cloud9 has played in the past. So for them to try to come in here and just sort of throw a cookie cutter T-side approach out there, I mean, we saw it fall flat on its face. It didn't work at all. So there's so much to think about here for Cloud9 in terms of the mental game moving forward. That they dropped what was supposed to be a game where they were supposed to be competitive with FaZe. It could have been a redemption for them on a couple of the maps they've lost in the past against them. And then they go for this curveball pick that just, there's nothing to be happy about with what we just saw in that second half.
It's a circle back to the Vitality choice going for Overpass instead of Inferno, and then we're left with so many questions like, how does that impact them? Because once you do that, you make that decision, and then you have to look back and realize if you're NaVi, man, we just played Nuke against FaZe. We could have had other maps where we had a chance. Sure, FaZe at the upper end, but if your only chance is to actually play your perma-ban to beat FaZe, then that's just it. That's just it for me.
Let's turn it to a happier note. Let's take a look at some Rob's highlights. That always makes me happy to take a look at some nice kills going down. Of course, we've got to take this with maybe a grain of salt in terms of the opposition he was facing and their preparedness coming into this map. But Rob's, you know, he's always good.
I mean, we have to commend him. It doesn't matter for them. It's just business as usual. They had to take that W. They were at 1-1. Rob's is always someone that we can guarantee is going to deliver a good performance, and he did so once again. He just what I would like to call like a lapse of judgment when he crossed that Molotov, which is a little bit uncharacteristic from Rob's in general. But for the rest, it was pretty much Rob's all the way. Perfect crosser placement, cleaning all the angles, being so diligent, so clean, always ready to fight. Standard Robs, which is exceptional by himself.
He's the best nuke lurker in the world, in my eyes. His lobby lurks have so much impact. He barely ever dies, maintains space for Kerrigan and the rest of FaZe so well. There is a reason that this guy is touted as one of the best riflers in the world, maybe even the best with how Niko's dropped in form, actually. So this guy, he's looking to win a major with this lineup, and so he delivered as he should. I can't really see a reason that he shouldn't have done this well, so I'm glad that he did.
Yeah, and we can also give some props to Rain as well. I think Rain shone through in this game, and he's also someone that's under the microscope a little bit for FaZe to kind of gauge their chances at actually lifting the trophy. We know they're going to need Rain to perform at a high level. 24 kills in 92 ADR. Nuke is definitely a map where he shines, where he plays great. He found his footing towards the outside map of the map. That's great for FaZe, knowing that Rain is activated.
And this is a nice step up for FaZe as well. Coming into it, we're talking about Cloud9, unfortunately, now being in those 1-0 teams. FaZe, now 2-1. We were looking at them as potentially being the biggest favourite. We're not saying there's a